gentlemen, we have a rainbow on our first morning here in Puerto Rico. Good omen for the trip. And this is our view from where we're staying, from the place Tom rented for us. All right, so I met up with three guys I have never met personally before, but kind of knew through the interwebs. And I'm going to introduce you to each of them throughout this video. Here, I'm setting up my Lift X on the beach for the first ride. Luckily, there's these two logs just sitting on our beach, and we were able to it was the perfect distance apart for us to put our boards down so they didn't get all sandy. And thanks to the cool toolless lock-in lift connect system here, we don't need to do much more than just snap all of our boards together and go riding. This is my first time using one of these crazy leashes on my board, and they are absolutely 100% necessary. If you intend to go in surf, big surf, you need to use a leash. Like, it's a lifesaver. It'll get your board back to you. And here I go walking by one of the friendly either tourists or locals on the beach. I did meet up right before I headed out. I did get to talk to a local, or at least a guy who had a ton of experience surfing here. He was on a foil drive. And he showed me the best way to get out there without, wrecking my mast and my prop and my wings. And so, he gave me some advice, and I waved and said, see ya, and went on my way. So take a second to talk to people that look like they know more than you when you go to a place you've never surfed before. Just a good advice. Jumping forward in time, I caught up to Jason. Now Jason, he runs Burton Outdoor Adventures. He's also known for putting together Foil Fest in Atlanta, which I think is the largest foil fest in the U.S. I'm pretty sure. So whenever you see this guy in the green shirt, that is Jason. And Tom right now is flying. He's a huge eFoil enthusiast from New York, and I've watched his shows. He's watched my shows, but he's an excellent drone pilot, and he's just crushing it here. And I think he's flying my DJI Air 3. And here's Jason's Jason's first time on a wave, right? That's how easy it was, and boof, biffed. And there. Now I'm gonna take my first stab at it. And here's what I'm gonna tell you about eFoiling on the X in real surf. It is somewhere between 10 and maybe 20 times more difficult than smooth water riding any eFoil. It's harder. Especially this board I have the middle board. I have the 4.8. And honestly, I'm a novice surfer. I am not great at surfing. I had my first surf lesson when I was 9, I think, in Miami. Not exactly known for their massive waves or anything, but I only get maybe a day a year to play around on waves on a surfboard. Because I'll go on a family trip, and my family doesn't want to spend all week surfing. This is kind of the first time I've gone out and said, hey, I'm going to spend all week doing the same thing, surfing waves. I'm going to learn how to surf on this Lift X. Once again, here's Jason, and he's doing all right for a guy from Atlanta, man. All right, now this guy in the blue here, this is Devon. He's known as Wake Thief. He's a huge pump foiler fanaticist, man. He's actually riding on a Lift X with a high mount. That means that the prop is close to the board. It's not down by the wing. So when he's out of the water, when he's on foil, his motor is not creating any extra friction for him. It's out of the water. But he can, and then the downside of that is that, obviously he can't motor ahead unless that's in the water. So it's only about a foot or so underneath his board. But an interesting design. He was the only one on that design. The rest of us were on standard Lift X low mount. This is me. No, is this me? No. This is Patrick. This is Tom's son. Came along with us. He just graduated in finance, and like this dude is the most chill eFoiler I've ever seen in my life. Like he's like stoic in a sense. He doesn't move around a bunch, but he's got good balance and everything. He's obviously spent a lot of years on eFoils. All right, cutting back to Jason. Oh, hey, I want to draw your attention to this. So you see where Jason's leash is attached to him, just below his knee? Highly recommend that. I got the ankle attachment, and that means that you're like always stepping on your leash, which is kind of hard to deal with, like when your foot's on the leash. Yeah, and he's just motoring out right now. Okay, another thing I want to draw your attention to that I didn't quite realize is when you're coasting over waves on your way out and stuff, I use my speed a lot to control my altitude. But when you're on ocean waves, that you got to keep your speed pretty high, right? You got to keep your momentum. These Lift X's, they're not quite as powerful as like the Lift 5 Pro, for instance. So you got to keep your momentum up because it takes them a little extra long to get back up to speed if you drop your speed down too long. So the way you've got to stay the proper altitude when you're coasting over waves is you just got to force your nose back down. Like you got to kind of ride the contour of the wave. It wasn't hard to learn, but it was just different than the way I would do it, back on my lake at home. So I'm kind of cruising up and down the shoreline, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little intimidated by some of these waves. Like it is weird to go from the best eFoiler on the lake to the worst hydrofoil surfer in the ocean. And that's what I felt like pretty much all day long. So a lot of the day I just took it easy. There's Devon again, cruising with that high mount. But yeah, I pretty much took it easy, and I did ride some waves. And I'll say this: the why should you do this? It is a huge thrill to let go of that throttle and ride unpowered. It has as silent as these boards are, there's an even greater silence and coast to that, and like their friction's really low when you shut off the prop. I noticed when I first let off on the throttle and that prop folds up, it's almost like it has a boost of speed at first. Again, we're on to Patrick. This is Tom's son, and oh my gosh, Tom! Like he put this whole trip together for all of us. Yeah, I don't even know that he knew any of us personally before this trip, but he just kind of reached out to people he'd been talking to, and channels he liked, and I guess various eFoil influence guys, and was like, yeah, these guys seems like they'd be fun to put together in the same place and go surfing with them. So he rented a place here in Puerto Rico and right on the water, and we're like, yeah, sweet, let's go. And yes, all of my business partners were convinced that I was being lured into being hunted for sport, but they also were highly encouraging of me to go and have fun on this trip, being hunted for sport. I mean, I guess I'm on day 3, so they could still hunt me for sport. I don't think that's going to happen. But. Okay, so here's Jason again. Nice turnaround. He caught that wave perfectly, and he is now unpowered. And trust me, he gets better. I've seen better shots of Jason than that. We're again, first day, we're all kind of figuring things out. So I'm riding here. Starting to play around with the waves a little bit, like kind of go into the crest and ride down the line just to see how confident I feel. I'm trying to stay as far away from anything that's white and rolly and looks like it's shallow. There's a lot of shallow here. Like there's reef under me. And there were a couple of times where I could feel my board touching the bottom, like when I was just at rest. So I kind of trying to stay over the white sandy part. But yep, I'm kind of like on the side of a wave right now, a little one, but I'm on the side of it and just kind of getting a feel for it. And then if I had turned like a hard left right there, I could have ridden that one down, but I just stayed straight and kind of cut over the top of it. There was a lot of like, where do I go and where should I be going on in my head, a little bit of panic. Like I'd see this white foam, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here when that big white wave hits. And I was like, I saw that I cut in front of this guy, and I'm like, oh, just stay in front of it. I'm not ready for this yet. I did at some point get hit by one of those, like where I fell, and then the second wave came in, and like I went, kind of cartwheeling and tumbling, and my board did the same thing, and it was tugging on my leg, and I was afraid, and I was just covered up. I did order a lid, everyone. You don't have to yell at me. I'm wearing a vest. The lid came and it was totally not the size it was supposed to be, even though I measured my skull in all the dimensions they told me to. It was, no. I'm not even gonna bring up the brand. No one needs to know about them. But anyway, their measurements were way, way off. And there wasn't time to do anything. And it's like the worst time of the year to buy stuff, I think, like that. I think there was just shortage, it's whatever was overstocked from last summer. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about all this. That was a pump foiler that was out there. Like he doesn't have a motor or anything. He's just kind of riding a surfboard with a foil on it. My God, the energy that has to take. I mean, I'm like out of shape because I haven't been in the water surfing or riding my eFoil since October, and I can tell I've gotten out of shape for riding a board. And like, I'm on a powered board. That guy's just pumping his way out there, like fast. My God, it's got to burn like 5,000 calories an hour or something. Jeez, I can't even imagine how much energy that must take. So one of the other things that makes surfing in the ocean, and I think also maybe too on the lift decks, harder than flat water riding, is like every time your board gets covered by a wave when you're trying to get up, it loses connection. You got to start over. So there's a lot of times where I had a lot of false starts where I was trying to get up, and then a wave would go over the top of my board, and I'd lose connection, and I've started all over again. And like every time you do, I biffed on a wave there. I didn't ride the contour appropriately. But yeah, every time that happens, like you got to start over, and then you like have to burn all that energy to get up again. And like I said, the lift decks, I probably could have gotten the larger lift decks given that I am such a newbie wave rider, right? That getting the bigger one may have been a better idea. I'm really glad I didn't get the smaller one. I'm very happy that Nick talked me into at least the middle one. I don't think I would have been able to hardly get up at all on a smaller one. But yeah, so I'm in the middle board. If I had the bigger one, I think it would have made it a little bit easier, at least in the starting phase. And just again, like I'm I felt as challenged this first day in the waves as my first day eFoiling, right? It kind of felt like I was burning that kind of energy, and I felt like that kind of fear again. And you know what? It's good that I feel challenged, and it's good that I feel humbled. Like for me to do Verdant Ride well, I think that I have to keep growing, and I have to put myself into situations where I'm not comfortable. And I think that when I feel that sense of I'm being humbled by a challenge that I'm not prepared for, that I'm not that I'm not fully confident about, or that I'm not completely I've done this 1,000 times, it makes me more empathetic, and that makes me a better host of a show like Verdant Ride. So if anything, even if this whole week I never turn into a awesome wave surfer, even that alone was worth it to challenge myself to learn to do something new on my board. I mean, Jason's definitely got more experience with this kind of thing than I do. I think he's been in more ocean, big wave stuff than I have. He's going out and doing a lot of unpowered stuff. And I think Devon too. And they're both just in way better shape than I am as well. Like, these guys have jobs where they work out. We've got like the king of pump foiling, and a guy who owns like a kayak adventures company. Like physical jobs, not me computer guy jobs, right? Yeah, and these are really, oh, Jason lost it there. Yep, back to Patrick here. And I think Patrick is on he's on 4.8 lift X. Tom did, I think he bought a 4.8 lift X while we were here. We picked it up right from the factory. But they also gave us a chance to test out their largest lift X board, which honestly I should hop on. But kind of interesting. So most of us were riding like Havoc wings. Patrick here is riding a 210 Camber Pro, which I think would be very interesting to try. I've really not played around with wings much except for like high aspect on my lift X. I did try a Carve 100 on it. That did not go well. That was very hard to get up on. And Jason, who was just sitting right next to me as I was recording this, corrected me. Patrick is on the 5'2" lift X, and with the Camber Pro 210. Back to Devon here. Remember, he's on the high mount. Man, which I gotta say, like, I don't notice hardly any friction on the low mount at all, and I would imagine the challenge of only having power when you're essentially board to surface that would be really hard for me to adjust to. But I mean, he's managing just fine. I mean, and I would guess, I'm looking right at Jason as I say this, but I'm gonna guess. I think Devon has the most experience riding waves out of all of us. Would I be correct? Okay. He surfed what? Chicama.
It's on his channel.
Huh. He's surfed Chicama. So yes, he has more experience than all of us surfing, and he looks it too. You can tell. Though you'll see in later days, Jason shortens the gap between them pretty fast. Me, I'm surfing like a kid from Minnesota for sure still. And honestly, okay, see, I'm watching this footage right now. I'm like, I'm doing okay. I didn't feel like I was doing okay at this time. In fact, I'm seeing some of the shots and I'm like, I don't remember being up this long. I remember just falling constantly and all the time, like all the time. So yes, my perception of it is very different, I guess, than what I'm seeing here. I didn't feel like I was. It didn't feel like I was ever up for very long at all. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if this was before or after the fall that kind of turned me over and upside down a bunch of times. And then right after that happened, like another wave hit me and it tossed me again. And I know that after that happened, I was like, I felt the anxiety, pretty big. I was like, oh, I do not like that feeling of not being in control. And I kind of got pushed into a piece of the reef that I couldn't even foil out of because it was just too shallow. So I had to swim out of it. I was getting hit by waves. Didn't like that at all. And yeah, once that happens to you, your perception of like that's the thing about the ocean. It's so much more powerful than you. You're at its will, and I'm inexperienced. Like it's clear that I am. And then, and so Tom is kind of just jumping between all of us. So it's even hard for me to figure out where, what has happened so far. Like what experiences have I had or have they had at this point? So as the day becomes a blur, but look at this beautiful water. I mean, just awesome. And Tom's an amazing pilot. I have to get some footage of him on this trip. He deserves some. I'll see if I can get like some shots of him and his son going down the river Maybe we'll head over to Crash Boat and hit some calmer waters. Dang, nice job, Jason. You just go straight head on into a wave and you rode it like it wasn't even there. And then he walks over here and he's gone. And I can't do anything about it. I have to record in linear mode. Yep, and I don't remember any of my get-ups being this easy either. Like, I remember struggling with almost every single time that I got. But I remember there were times where, like, I would take 4 or 5 shots at it, and, like, just as I was about to stand, a wave would come and, like, you know, start all over. And it just takes so much more energy to get up on a board like this in the ocean than on, like, my lake where it's totally flat and everything. Oh, hey, so there. That's what it looks like when you get swallowed by a wave. And, like, it sucks you back in, and then the next wave hits you and stuff. And actually, that wasn't that bad. I mean, I had ones where they totally knocked me off my board. But, oh, here comes a big one. Do I survive this? I do not. Yep. I can tell right now, I'm like, the panic's coming back. Don't let there be a 4th bigger wave. And I did find that if you get in front of the wave, if you use the wave to, like, help you get a little momentum, it helps you get. And that is one of the things that I'll remember even from my very first surf lesson. Bodie, or whatever the guy's name was that gave me my first surf lesson when I was a little kid, was like, you have to paddle, like, you get going the same direction as the wave is going, and you start paddling before it gets to you, and you're trying to get as close to the speed of the wave as you possibly can, so that by the time it hits you, it catches you, it doesn't leave you behind. So you're going with it. You want to help the wave push you along. So now we're definitely later in the day, and now we're tired. And I just I cut a bunch of our falls or failed launches together just to show you what it looks like, and just try to imagine how much energy is being exerted every time you fail at one of these, right? And it's just, what's going on is this: the Lift X is less powerful, the prop has less torque, the board is much lighter. That battery is what, half the weight or something of the Lift 4 or 5 Pro. It is very challenging to get the board to stay the right amount out of the water. It's very easy to step on it too soon and bury the nose. And we're in these waves I'm not used to, so I'm not used to anything covering up my board when I'm getting up. But I mean, it's just, it kind of turns into fall after fall after fall. And what's weird is all of us are very experienced eFoilers, but we look like newbies today because, in a sense, we are. We're newbies, not at eFoiling, but we are definitely, a lot of us at least, are very, very fresh to the whole trying to be surfers on eFoils. Yeah, that's another thing, is like, you'll go over the back of a wave and then not be able to, keep it. God, so many failed starts in a row. Yep, there's Jason. Watching this makes me tired, because I know how I felt at these moments where you're kind of like pleading with the board, please just get me up. I mean, most of my resting I did once I was up and eFoiling. That's where I feel comfortable, and just desperately trying to stay up. So here's Devon. He's made it home, and we can ride our boards, like, essentially right to our beach, and carry our boards up. It's pretty awesome. Great spot that Tom found for us. No, we're not going to stop recording, Devon. You don't make those decisions. You're the talent. The director chooses when to cut. Jason is done. He's like, I'm out of here. He flies right past me. He's like, see ya. Want pizza tonight? And So the thing about the reef where we are is you kind of have to be careful. If you go too deep, it gets shallow. I know that sounds weird, but if you go too far out, it'll get shallow. You have to kind of follow the sand in, and if you do that, you can fly all the way to essentially where we're staying, which is really cool. You know, this is like ski in, ski out. And then we're going to see the best dismount from Jason ever. See ya. Then it's my turn to go home. And I'm so afraid of wrecking this board. I'm so afraid of falling and having to start over my launch. But I figure it out. And man, at this point, I've just been beaten by waves, and I feel like the time that I've spent actually going off throttle that I was successfully able to get back on throttle was it wasn't a ton. Let's put it like that. Like I think I fell every time that I tried to go unpowered. Like I wasn't able to recover it. Oh, I thought I was heading home. I guess I was like, I haven't spent enough time off throttle. I'm going to fix that all by myself out here. And then I said, no, I'm afraid now. I don't want to do that alone. I'm going to drown. So I head home too. And as soon as I get into the water that's a little flatter, then immediately my confidence comes back. I'm like, yeah. Oh, I remember this very moment where I was just like, I'm good at this, right? And so I remember just getting back to this little like clear spot that's in front of our place and just whipping this board around a little bit because I wanted to feel competent again. Like I just spent, hours out there being a noob, and struggling for hours, that I was just happy to be feeling like I was back in my element. That I remember whipping around here and I was like happy. I just felt so happy to be like, I know how to do this. I recognize this sport. This is great. I know what I'm doing. Like to feel confident at something and to feel the flow of something where it feels kind of effortless to do it. That's why you practice sport. That's why you fight to get good at them, is to have that feeling, to have that dopamine reward of the flow sensation. And I remember like this is the first time I had it all day long. It was just this minute or two I spent zipping around, and if I were to go into those dark areas, man, that would have torn my mast right off my board. But I didn't care. I was just like, I'm gonna go right up to the edge and take as much room as I can possibly get, and just go fast and pull some carves. And I don't know. It reminds me of when I the first day that I tried snowboarding, and like if you're a competitive skier and you're good at it, you're pretty confident about being able to say things like, hey, I'm the best guy on the mountain. And a lot of days you might be right. But then you take up snowboarding and you go from the best skier on the mountain to the absolute worst snowboarder on the mountain in a matter of then the time it took to put on boots and wear a different board. And I remember it was just my ass in my face all day long. And I did kind of get the hang of it by the end of the day snowboarding, and it was because I was in so much pain and I'd just fallen so many times that I think I'd become suicidal. I just pointed the board straight down the hill and I'm like, I'm not stopping. I'm going to go fast and just hit a tree. I don't care anymore. And then I started snowboarding and I started carving, and then I realized that all of my effort being spent to like keep myself in control and going slow and stuff was keeping me from being able to weave, which kept making me fall, and that speed was what made it work. So I don't know, maybe one of these days I'm going to go up to a giant wave and be like, I don't care if you kill me. I would rather that, because I'm so tired and so in so much pain that I go ahead and kill me. Anyway, I know that at this moment I am absolutely just beat. My board right now feels so heavy, even though it's the lightest eFoil with battery I've ever carried in my life. It feels like 1,000 pounds. And I want to leave with just one thing. There was an eFoiler, a foil surfer out there riding a Lift X that really knew what he was doing. And we shot some footage of him. And like, I don't know who you are, but dude, you are a god, and I want to be able to do what you do. This guy right here, I want to learn I want to be this good. I want to feel what this guy's feeling right now. Where he approaches this wave, so much confidence, so relaxed, and just carves it. Look at this. Look how much fun he's got to be having. And he's riding a high mount. Look at that. See that high mount motor way up in the air like that? Dude, he is riding unpowered. It's so beautiful. Look at this. Look at this. I want this. I want to get this good at this sport. Oh, look at how far he's able to glide. I mean, that's what I want. So I'm not going to get there this week, but I'm going to work at it. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video.